All right, sweet. So we're back here. So yeah, man, I just kind of love to kind of like hear like about, I feel like we're in this time of year where a lot of people struggle like after the holidays, during the holidays as well. First off, like how was that season for you? And like how is business now?
Uh, the beginning was, as many people experienced, probably it was a little rough.
Yeah.
Um, it wasn't necessarily it wasn't necessarily like the consults that were coming in. They sold almost every consult that came in.
Yeah.
It was just the frequency of the consults coming in.
Right.
Now, I mean, I mean, I had 5 consults yesterday.
Yeah. And you closed them all.
Closed them all.
Yeah.
I think I got 7 more this week. I had 11 last week, and I'm still closing probably around 68-70% of the consults that come in.
Yeah.
Obviously, just depending on we're a little pickier on the dogs coming in nowadays as
Right.
far as I have people that are coming in with behavior mods that want to do privates, and the minute I say they have to do a board and train, they're not
Forgot
doing
about that.
it.
Yeah.
They just, and it's not even the price.
Yeah.
Half the time it's like I can't send my dog away for 5 weeks. So I'm past the point of really arguing that at the frequency of consults that come in. Um, but no, we're doing good. We're
Yeah.
doing we're doing very, very, very well. I mean, we're probably booked out close. I want to say the end of March.
Wow, man. Yeah. And how many board and trains are you taking on nowadays at a time?
16.
Oh my gosh. Is this still out of your house?
Yeah, yeah, but I don't between the 4 spots I got, we
Right.
take.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That makes more
So
sense.
I actually I might do 2 to 4
Yeah.
at a time, but between the 7 dogs, the privates I'm doing, the club kills me. And
Yeah.
as we are just talking about, I'm training for an ultra marathon that takes a ton
Yeah.
of time. I mean, that's 2 hours of running a day plus. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I'll take 2 to 4, but my other trainers, Megan, Dave, and Jack, they take 4 steady, and they're constantly booked out.
But you know what's so funny about that, dude, is that like years ago when we started working together, like that wouldn't have been that crazy, honestly. Like
No,
you're like,
16
yeah, I got
wasn't. No,
16
I
dogs,
mean,
and like, yeah.
yeah, 16 wasn't crazy, man. I had man, early last year, I think I had 23 out of my house.
Wow, man. That is wild.
Yeah, I was trying to punch it, and we did it. Like
Yeah.
we did it. This
Yeah.
is yeah. I mean, I'm at the point now where I got a couple other trainers that are looking for jobs that come to the club. I use club has been great for that, filtering new dog trainers in for the
Yeah, there you go,
business.
dude.
They know how to train. They know my philosophy because we talk business all the time. We're constantly talking shop
Mhm.
at a club, and so if I can bring 1 or 2 more on, I personally won't take board and trains then at that point.
So break this down for me. Tell me a little bit more about like because your business has like, I mean, dude, it's so awesome to see. Like your business has like shifted a little bit the way that you're doing things. Like you put in your dues so much in the beginning of like this story just like epitomizes you to me.
Oh,
Like
it's awesome.
so when you first started working with us, you like we had like a check-in call and I'm like, hey, how are things going, man? And you're like, dude, first off, I remember you saying like I don't like using this word. I use this sparingly, but like this is like magic. Like my phone
Yeah.
is just like ring, right? And it was like a totally new novel thing that like we could just generate leads like this. And then the second thing is you were like, I'm like slammed. I'm like having a hard time keeping up with it. And I was like, all right, well, do you want to like turn it down and like, you scale back on the ad spend? You
I was
just
like,
stopped me. You're like, no, no,
turn
no.
that shit up.
I will freaking kill myself
Yeah.
before I turn this down. Yeah. And so yeah,
Yeah,
man, like
dude.
you paid your dues and like you just had all these dogs inside of your home and stuff like that. And like it's cool because now you've been branching out and growing. And it's like there was this period of time, the season in your life where you did so much of that. So you could position yourself to be in this time now where like you have more free time and you have a business and an asset, not just so much like a job anymore, you know?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's so like between the 4 trainers, so I got 3 locations plus a storefront where we do classes. We sell gear.
Yeah.
Uh, we sell everything there. And that's where we do that's where we schedule our consults at. We do classes 2 to 3 times a week there. So private sessions we do there, and then we occasionally do club. It's a pretty decent. It's like 3,200 square feet, so it's a pretty decent sized storefront location, and
Yeah.
it's an open floor, so it works out for club. But yeah, I got three locations, between, if you're familiar with the area, I got
Yeah.
East Norton, Quakertown, and Doylestown locked down.
So you don't have Harleysville anymore.
I do it. The Harleysville's our storefront.
Oh, that's the storefront. Okay, that
Yep,
makes sense.
Harleysville's a storefront. So,
Yeah.
uh, but yeah, it's been crazy. So even just like the booking situation, as far as like keeping people full, my other trainer's busy, and then hopefully we're working into road tests because I'm the only one that really works the storefront location right now. We're looking to then rotate them there once a week. So one day a week, all my trainers will rotate through there, and they'll just do all the appointments. And we're keeping pretty thorough notes as far as like private sessions, and no one really misses a beat. So
And so people are coming in to do consultations at your location.
yeah, yep,
And so you're still doing all the sales though.
yep. For
Okay.
the most part, occasionally I get one of my other trainers. If I have something as far as like scheduled, I'll
Yeah.
have one of them cover down on it. But yeah, I do most of it still.
No, so I love that because like I think this is like a really interesting thing to talk about. So many times I see people that like the first thing that they try and get out of in their business is doing sales and consultations. They're like, I'll hire somebody to do that. But I like ascribe more to the philosophy of like what you've done here, which is like hire people to train dogs and you continue to do sales until it's reaches like such a silly point of like, okay, now I need to have somebody also step in. But I was on a call, like a mastermind call too, with this guy, Dan Martell, who like owns a really successful company and does a ton of coaching and stuff like that. And he's like, when I tell people to step out of sales inside of their business is when they hit the $1 million mark. And he's like,
Yeah,
and
I
even
get it.
then, I tell them to still kind of do some of it because it's just so good to stay in tune with what's actually happening. Because I've experienced this with a couple of clients now where they hire and outsource sales to somebody else inside of their business, and things start kind of going bad, right? Like they're not
Yep.
closing as many people, and then they're hearing from the people like, oh yeah, well it's the time of year they just weren't ready to buy, and they get all these excuses, and it's kind of hard to make sense of like has something in the market changed or what's going on here. But yeah, I just don't think that that's something that you should give up that quickly, which a lot of people seem to do that. What was it for you that like made you like be like realize like I'm holding on to this?
I'm good at it, and I
You're good
love
at
it.
it. Yeah.
I love talk. I mean, if anyone knows me, I love talking. I love
Yeah.
talking to people. I like that I've been, quote unquote, jack of all trades. I'm not talking literally. I'm just talking. I've been to places. I've done things, and that I can relate to a lot of different people. And
Yeah.
it's cool. I Half the consultations that I have come in when I talk to them, we barely talk about their dog.
Yeah.
Unless their dog's trying to eat me, I'm rarely talking about their dog. We talk, we shoot the shit. I get to know them, they get to know me. I mean, half my clients know exactly what I'm doing the rest of the week. I tell them my schedule, we talk, and it's like that. I would have a hard time giving that up. I thoroughly enjoy talking to people that I don't know.
Yeah, me too, man. Like I love that, dude. That's my favorite part is like when I get to meet somebody new and like we discuss business, but a lot of times it's like, oh, you're from Southern California? Like, oh, like where do you live? My brother lives there, and I get to talk to
Yep.
people just about life and like different things that they're doing. And yeah, like do me a favor, give everyone like an example of that, of like somebody coming in and like a conversation that you had with somebody lately that you're like we barely talked about dog training until like we got through just all this.
Oh, this is perfect. So I had a consultation come in like 2 weeks ago. So for anyone who doesn't know, I've raised my brother and sister for the majority of their adult life. So my sister's in Westchester University right now, going to school, and I had someone come in, and just through the conversation I've had with her, talking dogs, talking people, talking school, I found out she went to Westchester. I found out she knew my sister. I found out she knew my sister's service dog, which end up circling back on why she got a dog, why
Wow.
she came into us for training. She didn't even know that she was coming in to meet, me, my sister,
Yeah.
at that point, my sister's brother. So it was just the craziest thing. And I got into that through not even talking about, I mean, realistically, her dog. We were just
Yeah.
talking.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's so true. Like I've had something like that happen too, where like I work with somebody who I went to college with her brother. And it's like, it's just funny. Like it really is a small world. And like when you can connect with somebody like on that level where like the same person, or even you've been to the same places or whatever it is, it's like I cannot I can't I can't like explain how powerful like just being able to draw some sort of connection like that with people is. I mean, it changes the game as far as people's comfortability, and her buying from you, it just became an afterthought. Like it was a foregone conclusion that she was going to sign up with you.
Oh,
You know?
well, yeah, 100%. It's yeah, I really, really think that when you go into the console and you're not like authentic with your potential clientele,
Yeah.
I think the ASAP those people are picking that up.
Yeah.
ASAP. I mean, I've watched a couple of my trainers do consults where they're talking, negative reinforcement, positive reinforcement, stimulus, and I'm sitting in the background with like cue cards. I'm like, dial it down. I'm like, bring it down a little bit. They're
Yeah.
people. They're not dog trainers. Like, dial it
Yeah.
down. They don't want to hear that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, being super authentic with people is a great way to start the conversation.
Yeah.
Maybe gently lead it into, negative reinforcement.
Yeah, but you don't even need to like say stuff like this.
No,
The funny thing is, man, like there's when you any industry that people work in, like it's actually a really important skill to be able to speak to people like they're a 5-year-old and explain it to them like they're a 5-year-old. Because when you're talking to another dog trainer, for me, if I'm talking to another like marketing agency owner or something like that, you just use this language that just is like, yeah, it's more concise, it's more to the point, and it just like it gets across what you're trying to say, but it's terminology that nobody else knows. And it's just like you kind of make them, you just lose them. So even like the example of like saying come when called instead of recall, you know what I mean? Like
yep.
that's something that people like intuitively understand instead of just them feeling like, I don't know what the hell this guy's talking about.
No, absolutely. It's I mean, even some of my favorite seminars, whether working dog or pet dog stuff, my favorite seminars are seminars I go to that they never use that language. I
Yeah.
don't want to use that language.
Yeah.
I'm a 5-year-old. It's like I don't want to talk. I get it. I understand why we use it, but it's break it down for me a little bit.
Yeah, for
Slow
sure.
it down.
Yeah, because yeah, you can just say stuff and then like they're nodding their head like, yeah, sure, sure. And
Yep.
then they just they caught none of it. You have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, even to go, I've had a stretch of consultations that I purposely go out of my way just to use that language, just to see if I can keep people into the conversation. And like I said, I think I do a pretty good job of gauging if I'm losing someone or not,
Yeah.
being able to reel them back in a little bit. Uh, the minute that language starts coming out of my mouth, they're just, yep, they're looking off into space. Their dog's running around my facility. They're like, Sparky, come back here.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. It
Yeah.
doesn't. It's not that for sure not my forte.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. This is something that's come up like quite a bit for people. Two different types of people. People who don't shut the hell up and they just like keep talking the whole consultation, and people who give you nothing. Like when you ask them a question, they give you a one-word answer. Like, how do you go about handling situations and people like that?
So I mean, I'll start with the people that don't really talk. They don't give you anything.
Yeah.
Is I try right off the bat. I'm trying to read you as much as possible, right? Do you even want to be here? Were you forced to be here? Is if it's just one single person, do you have a significant other
Yeah.
that also doesn't care about the dog, or do they care about the dog? And then I stop talking about the dog. I start talking about them. I start talking about the weather. I start talking something to get them going. Something, and it 9.9 times out of 10 works.
Yeah.
I can usually draw something out of someone, whether or not they're talking or not. Someone that doesn't shut up, that's like, the people, I've owned 30 dogs for 30 years, and, you know, I've never had to bring my dog to a dog trainer. I will let them talk themselves until they stop. I'm not talking. I'm not cutting you off. Continue, please continue. I will hear you out.
Yeah.
It as a I will say I think those are harder than people that don't talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just because it's usually the same thing over and over and over again from different people.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I've had people that I feel like I block out an hour for like a phone call or a Zoom call or something like that, and they spend like, before I know it, like 45 minutes has gone by, and I'm like, I haven't gotten in a word in edgewise, and now I got 15 minutes to try and like cram in how I can help them.
Yeah.
So that's a tricky thing because like I feel like sometimes you got to take the bull by the horns and be like politely interject and be like, okay, yeah, that's cool. Like I respect that, but let's talk about this now.
Yeah,
Like
I
it's
mean, I
it's good to handle
eventually,
that.
eventually I'll cut them off. You know, if I, especially if I, like yesterday, all 5 appointments I had come in were back to back to backs,
Yeah,
with no breaks, and most of the dogs we see nowadays for consults are, they're aggressive, they're reactive. I don't want them acting at the doorway at all. So I try to cut them short by 5 minutes. Uh, but like yesterday, I had someone come in and it was just, this is my 13th French bulldog I've owned, and I've never had one that just randomly snaps at people. And it was just this 35-minute long conversation about, her other French bulldogs.
yeah. Who aren't
Eventually,
here? Who
yeah,
like
who aren't here. I
are
was like,
irrelevant.
yeah, eventually I stepped in, I was like, what about this French bulldog? So he bites,
Yeah,
what else?
yeah,
Tell me something else.
yeah. Totally, man.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in, obviously, you're gonna have I have questions. I get clients that come in that I have questions about.
Yeah,
I don't. I'm not some insane salesman. I do a good job because I can talk to people.
yeah,
Instead of talking about something.
yeah,
I rarely bring up our board and train program. I rarely bring up our private sessions. It's I talk about them. I talk about their relationship with their dog.
yeah.
Maybe. Um, but for sure, the best way to go about handling either one of those cases, I think, is just getting more repetition in.
Yeah, okay. That is the answer right there. For everybody who wants to know how to get good at sales, it's like it's just like anything else. And again, like I'm not saying I'm like the best salesman to ever exist or anything like that, but all I know is that this goes for everything in life. Like the perfect analogy is the gym, right? Like it's all about repetitions. Like if you want to like build your muscles, like you got to get in there and you got to do it over and over and over. Just going to the gym one time, you're not going to notice a difference.
Um,
And
I mean,
so
you say you're not good, but you're pretty good.
I
You're pretty
appreciate
good.
that, man. Yeah. But like the thing is like that is the secret recipe. It's just like forcing yourself into these situations where you meet with people continuously, you get told no. Like I have a client now, like that I'm just so unbelievably happy for, like our client Vanessa, and she's just been like trying for so long, and she just hasn't given up, and like it's all come to fruition in the past couple of months, where she's just like going on these consultations, and everybody seems to be saying yes right now, and I'm like, it's not a coincidence. It's because you just did it over and over and over.
Yep.
And it's funny. I was listening to part of like another client success interview because we were like clipping some stuff up with another client, Tommy Martin, who's a great guy, and he said, "This is so funny, man." He's like, there's all these people that have written all these books on sales and stuff like that. He's like, I told my wife I'm going to write a book on sales. It's going to be one page, and it's just going to say, "Be nice to people." And I was like,
There
man,
it is.
that is so unbelievably true. Just like
There
give
it
a
is.
shit, show people you're actually interested in their lives, and like, yeah, I mean, be kind to them. And like you would be surprised like at how many people want to work with you just because you empathize with them, or just because you can make them laugh, or just because you can talk to them and they feel comfortable with you.
Yep. That's it. I mean, that's good advice. That's that's the best advice I've heard.
Yeah, yeah,
So be nice. Yeah, I
yeah,
mean that's it goes a long way. I see, not gonna name names. There's companies in my area that been doing sales, dog training a lot longer than I have. And I've had people come, shopping around, and the entire consultation is like they're just belittling them the entire
mm,
time. So they're bad dog owners. They don't know what they're doing. Yeah, no shit.
yeah,
That's why they're there.
right, exactly, man.
And it's something I see as like businesses get bigger, and that's something. I mean, that's something even I've tried dialing down. Is even as we get bigger, when we do get bigger, um, keeping the consultation about the client.
Hmm.
That's be nice, be authentic, be yourself, and care for
Yeah,
the person.
yeah. Yeah, man, and it's funny you say that because, like, I mean, I've worked with people in the past that like when I listen to their like calls and stuff like that, and I'm just like, you sound angry that they're calling.
Yeah,
Like you can get like jaded and resentful at your clients. Like I don't know if anyone who's listened to this or if Lucas, like if you've ever experienced this, but like I've been in situations in my life where like, you're busy and like somebody messages you or somebody's calling you, whatever, and you're like actually like don't want to have to talk to this person because you're like, I got so much stuff going on.
yeah,
But yeah, like that is the time to like try and just get back to like being in a state of like gratitude of
yep,
like these people are calling me because they want to like pay me money.
yeah.
Instead of being like, I can't believe here's another annoying dog trainer or dog owner who doesn't want to do the work. It's like, man, you gotta return to like a state of gratitude, or else like
Yep.
you're gonna resent your clients, which is just like not what you want to be doing.
It's like that's a good problem to have.
Yeah,
Too many people calling you is a good problem to have. And
yeah,
it's like, I'm blessed. The person answering my phone, because it's not me, not all the time.
yeah.
Jess is, and I know you've listened to Jess's.
Jess is a
uh,
killer on the phone.
She's a killer. She is.
Yeah,
Is it is it honest niceness all the time? No, I have a couple clients that absolutely drive her up a wall, but she is to the core. I mean, wonderful with clients. She is super nice to them. I mean, I've seen, when I go back and I check the phone, she's got hour-long conversations with people that haven't paid us a dime
yeah,
over the phone. And it's like I always, what gets me with that is I always go back to you. What you did with me when I first signed up with you. What do we have? Like a 2.5 hour long phone call. I was sitting in my car after I got smoked by those other people, is for 12 grand. And you talked me down, you off a ledge, and before I even paid you a dime, you took 2.5 hours of your time to reassure me this is the way to go. This is
wow,
how it's going to work. You broke everything down, and I really correlate to what Jess does with a lot of our clients. A
yeah,
lot of our clients are retrains from other board and train facilities, other dog training facilities, and at this point we get a lot of retrains. And she does such a good job talking those people off a ledge. Well, whether they had a negative experience with an e-collar, negative experience with a dog trainer, negative experience with just no results. She does an awesome job with it. So super, super grateful I have her.
yeah. Well, I appreciate you saying that, man. I mean, that means a lot to hear that from you. You know what I mean? That like made an impact. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think for me, like somewhere along the way, it was just drilled into me that it's like people will not buy from you if you don't give them the time of day. Customer service is everything. We've had people like leave and like go and work with somebody else because they can get it like they found maybe someone that can do it cheaper, but then they come back and they're like, I want to work with you because you answer my calls and
Yep.
because you like, have somebody that can like message with me and like strategize with me and stuff like that. And I'm like, here's the thing, there's so many businesses out there that will not take the time of day to talk to their clients, and don't be another one of those. Just be
No.
like, if you want to know how to differentiate yourself in your marketplace, which is the recipe to like standing out and being successful, it's like just like start by just saying like, I'm gonna give the best customer service I possibly can, and if I can do that, I know I'll be delivering a better experience than other trainers.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you talk to any, I mean, I think that's a big thing. Client communication with dog trainers across the board, I think is absolutely horrible.
Yeah,
Horrible. These people that are giving us their money for us to train their dogs, they're working 9 to 5s.
yeah.
They're not contacting you during the day. They're
Mm,
contacting you after 5 o'clock and before 9 o'clock in the morning. And
right.
I can't tell you how many people I hear bitch about. I'm getting phone calls at 6 o'clock at night, 7 o'clock at night. No shit. No shit. Answer your phone. You don't have to answer. Send a text message.
Yeah,
Get them on a schedule with you to take a phone call.
yeah, man.
Right?
Exactly.
It's like I tell people, give us egg for us. Give us 20. If you message us, because we set up everyone in a WhatsApp group chat. So every one of my trainers, plus Jess, plus my wife is in that group chat.
Mm,
And so everyone sees a message come through. And I tell people, we have a 24-hour rule. Give us 24 hours to respond. After that, if it's like an emergency, give us a call, leave a voicemail, blow us up, and we'll get you scheduled for a phone call if you have to, or we'll get you scheduled for a private if we have to.
yeah.
If it's that deep. Um, but I can't tell you how many people I've seen. I have a client that used to train with a client a couple hours away, left her on red for 2 months. I'm
Yeah,
like,
that's
dude,
great.
and then only reached back out to him because she left him a 1-star review.
Oh man, yeah. Oh, dude. See, it's like the moment's over. You know what I mean? Like,
You-
there's no salvaging that now.
No,
Like, that's so like it just comes across as so like selfish. You know what I mean? Like, I will now talk to you after you. It took you going online and trashing me in order
yep.
for me to like have a phone call with you now. You
Yeah,
know?
at that point, it's like, don't even reach out.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
don't even reach out. That looks
Just
horrible.
report that review. Hope it gets
Yep.
pulled down and move
Hope it
on.
gets, yeah, hope it gets taken down. It's yeah, I mean it's unfortunate. And I mean that is genuinely across the board with people.
Yeah,
As far as dog trainers go and their client communication. If there's one thing I see, and listen, I don't think I'm perfect at it, like at all. But I try my best, and where I lack, my employees cover.
yeah,
They fill in the gaps everywhere that I lack. That's why they're my employees. That's why we're a team. So yeah, I think if there's one place for massive improvement as far as a profession, client communication.
yeah, dude. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, we're reading a book as a team right now. I'm blanking on the name. I think it's like How to Never Lose a Client Again or a Customer Again or something like that by Joey something. But the whole point is like, there's ways to treat people and ways not to treat people. And I had this thought before when you were talking about, it's going to be hard in the beginning when you start a business and you're doing all this stuff yourself and you're like, I just worked all day long and I have 2 calls I got to return at 6:30 at night, or okay, they can't talk now. I got to get up extra early tomorrow to like squeeze them in for a call and stuff like that. But like this is all what sacrifice is all about, is that like you do this now so you build this so that one day you can invest and have other people help you do it.
Yep.
It's like, but there is no skipping that stage unless like, yeah, sure, maybe you have an investor or something like that, or you have a lot of money and you're like you want to hire somebody right out the gate. But what I would even tell you is that like the most important thing is like if you don't give a shit about it, and if you don't care about like the attention to detail of like respecting your clients and really taking the time to nurture people in the sales process and get to know them and make them know, like, and trust you, and be on top of like corresponding with your clients, like you're going to have a really hard time training somebody else how to do that. And like because the culture isn't going to exist in your company. People only do stuff when they're like they see that there's an example that's been set of like how this is done. You know what I mean? And so like that's
Oh,
something you're
absolutely.
really good at, man. It's like clearly by like the club you have, and then just the culture at Canine, like it's in the name. Like you guys have like a culture here that like that you've taken a long time to build.
Yeah, I mean, our whole goal when I started the Culture Canine, obviously bouncing names around for
Yeah,
a business can be tricky.
yeah,
But I wanted something that meant something to me and something that I could pass on. So our whole thing was, our motto now is teaching at both ends of the leash. But when I originally started it, it was changing the culture,
yeah,
right? And I think at the time when I started a business, people started realizing that there's the pie is huge for dog training.
yeah,
The dog industry itself is forever growing. There's a lot of money to be made in it, but to do the business for money is where people fail. I know people that have big time investors. They hire people off the get go, and they never get to learn their business. They never get to learn their clientele. They don't even get to know their employees at that point,
yeah,
and they end up in the same place every other one before them did. So needing help, they need to learn how to. I have people that own a dog training business only train dogs.
yeah.
It's like
That's a
these,
wild thing, isn't it?
that is a that's a wild thing. But
Imagine me just like grabbing a wrench and being like, I'm a plumber. I own a plumbing company
I'm,
now.
I, that's it. And it's very popular down in the Philly area.
Yeah,
There's multiple dog trainers down in the Philly area that don't know how to train a dog, and I'm
yeah.
not sure they even train dogs, but they own a business that is a dog training business.
Yeah, I mean marketing too. There's a lot of people who are like, I watched like a couple of YouTube videos, or I took like a $500 course, and like, yeah, I run Facebook ads now for people, or like
Yep.
YouTube ads or whatever it is, and like, yeah, I mean, not to like badmouth anybody else, but I mean like you literally had that experience of like working with
Yeah.
somebody before coming to work with us.
Oh, I mean, they were big on Facebook. they cold called me. Well, method basically
Right.
is they cold called me into their group. They talked me up, and then 12 grand later, I'm left on red multiple times,
Yeah.
with a half printed out template of how I'm supposed to reach out to people on Facebook to bring them into a sales portal. And I'm like,
Yeah.
people are going to see through that real. That is a not what I want to do, and people are going to see through that real quick. And it's just, yeah, it never worked out. But here I
Yeah,
am.
for sure. Yeah, but I mean, I think that's just so the thing that's so funny about that is that like, going back to what you're saying, but that's why I think you said that to me. You're like, this almost seems like magic because there was no world where that existed before, where like you were just getting calls and just like being able to answer them of people that were like wanted dog training already. And I think that's another reason why it works so well for you is because you were so ready for something that just like made sense. And I mean, you already had a business where you were making money, right? Like you were profitable and stuff like that.
Yep.
Obviously, you weren't where you wanted to be, but you had dogs you were training. You didn't just have all this time to just be like, as you put it, like fishing, like trying to
Yep.
find people that weren't interested and turn them into people who were interested. But yeah, I mean, at a certain point, that's the benefit to like Google ads and paid advertising is that like you're getting people calling you and you don't need to go and find them.
Yeah, and just to kind of touch on that because that post in your group went crazy.
Yeah.
And I have had it's like that multiple people reach out to me about like what you do for us, right? I mean, you put dinner on the plate. That's it's a simplest way to put that, right?
Yeah.
Those leads that come in, they're hot, they're ready. All you got to do is nurture them a little bit, and they're in.
Yeah.
I don't think, and that's why I call it magic. It doesn't. I don't think it takes that much to bring most of the clients that we get in from Alfred
Yeah.
in. I don't think it takes that much to convert them over to a client.
Yeah.
That's why our sales, the conversion rate from consults to clients. I don't know what the business standard is or industry standard is,
Right.
but 70% seems relatively high to me.
Very high. Yeah.
So we keep most of what we get.
Yeah.
But that's what you do. That's why it's magic. So
Yeah. And I hate to just beat the same drum over and over and over, but I mean, this is something that like you're a big reason why I am so adamant that people do in-person evaluations is because of just like I remember having a conversation with you in the past and like for everyone who doesn't know, like Lucas is one of my like earlier on clients. Like my business was not gigantic by any means when we first started working together. So like I was blessed enough to be able to like test a lot of stuff with you and get to really learn a lot about like the dog training world and sales and how to really refining a sales process through working with you. And I remember having a conversation with you where we were kind of just like talking about like what is the best way to do this? Like what is going to give us the highest likelihood? And there was a period where you were like selling people over the phone. And I
yeah,
remember like saying to you, like, well, what happens when you get in front of people face to face? And you're like, I close everybody. And I was like, man, so like that's just all we should be trying to do is get you in front of as many people as possible. And you never wavered on that. Like that's the thing that I find so awesome, man, is that like sometimes I think things, people get busy. Um, Maybe they get a couple no's in a row where they drive out to people's homes and they throw the baby out with the bathwater and they're like, I'm not doing this anymore. And I'm just going to sell over the phone. And then like it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like they can't close in person. So they're certainly not going to be able to close over a 10-minute phone
no,
call. And then it's easy to just be like the whole thing doesn't work. But for
yep,
you, you were just like, I've committed to this, and this is just what we do is we meet with people face to face.
yeah. I mean, when in the beginning, I mean, I didn't have a facility, so I was going out and I was driving. Dude, I think I put 47,000 miles on my car the first year I started with you because
Yeah,
I did in-home consultations.
yeah, yeah,
Oh my God, that was awesome.
yeah,
That was awesome. The only reason I dialed off that is because we grew.
yeah,
If I have the money to put into a facility, I'm gonna just schedule them there. But I still do in-home. Occasionally I do in-home consultations still, and those are 100% sell rate.
exactly, man.
Over
See,
the last year, I've never had anyone back off of an in-home consultation.
yeah, I want everybody to listen. If you are struggling with sales, like you need to like really ingest that and think about that. That's like if you go to like Lucas is saying, like if I go to somebody's house and I meet with them, like you've just given them such a good experience. Like, why would they say no to
And let me just put this out there
you?
because I know how dog trainers like to carry on and how they dress. Come dressed appropriately.
Yeah,
Sweatpants, Crocs, your hoodie. That is not it. Come with a branded polo or a hat or something with jeans, khakis, some sort of work pants. Just look presentable,
yeah,
right? Like you're going into someone's house to sell them on something, right?
yeah,
Um, it's that was a big game changer. My first couple in-home consultations, I'm not gonna say I was dressed like a bum, but I wasn't dressed to the occasion, and I felt that you could feel it felt awkward at
yeah,
best. I was walking to someone's house dressed like that,
yeah,
and as I slowly transitioned to just, I'm not saying you gotta be dressing like Gucci or whatever, but to come in like I would come in like a Carhartt jacket, a branded Carhartt jacket,
yeah,
um, during the winter, and a branded polo, uh, during the summertime. And if it was shorts, they were nice shorts. If it was pants, they were like, at least blue jeans and, nice boots that don't have dog shit all over them.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and that made a world of difference.
Yeah, man,
World.
absolutely. Dude, I've had people, you pointed that out to me that you're like, sometimes like trainers show up with like dog hair and like, honestly, dog shit on them sometimes. And it's like, man, that is just not
Yeah.
making a good first impression. And I'll say this, like I said this on another one of our calls we did one time, but like, I'll never forget, like when I, was like, started like, getting into business and stuff like that, owning businesses. And like, I could tell that people responded different. Like, even just being out in public, if I'm wearing a button down shirt, I feel like I get treated differently than if I'm just wearing like, like a kind of like loosely fitting t-shirt or something like that. Like people call me
Yep.
sir. You know what I mean?
Oh
Like
yeah.
all of a sudden it's just like it's all about perception. And then, if you lack confidence as well, like that's one of the easiest things that you can do is like put some clothes on that fit nicely and you feel good in. And like that right out the gate will give you a boost of confidence.
Oh, dude, the minute I started dressing nicer for consultations, I'd walk in, I'd kick their fucking door down. I'd be like, Lucas is here, and it was people
You're like
knew.
taking your sunglasses
Yep,
off.
taking my sunglasses off, I'd sit down at their counter, I'd be like, what do we got? And I had a great time. Some of the best clients I ever had. I still have. Most of the clients we have, are 2 years old at this point.
Yeah.
Nurtured into, classes, scheduled privates, or they're transitioned over into competitive obedience,
Yeah.
CGC classes. Uh, just with that, I've had people offer me dinner at in-home consultations
Yeah.
after half an hour just getting to know me, drinks, cigars. Yeah, crazy. I
Yeah.
had some of the best times from in-home consultations.
Yeah. That's so cool, man. I love that. So like let me ask you this, man. Let's wrap up with this because I don't want to keep you all night. But
All right.
um I feel like there is, and this may sound dramatic, but I do think this is really true. Like, I think there's a certain amount of mental toughness that comes along with um, sales and in-person consultations, especially in the beginning when you're not that good at it. Because it's a really painful thing to like drive to somebody's house and you're starting a business, you don't have a ton of money, and your mindset is like, the gas money I just spent to get here and stuff like that. Like, what do you have to say about that? Like from a mindset perspective for people, like hearing no from people.
It's part of the game. It's a game. At the end
Yeah.
of the day, it is a game. Is it your life? Yes. It's something you're trying to develop, but it is a game that you will get better as you play more and more and more.
Yeah.
As far as take the mental toughness aspect of it, if you can take no from that a couple times, someone's going to say yes eventually.
Yeah.
Once that sword sharpened a little bit through the repetitions you put in, someone's going to say yes. You
Yeah.
are going to dial it. And I wasn't in a much different situation.
Yeah.
I sold my kennel right before I started with you. I got drained for 12K. I
Yeah.
had maybe a dog a month coming in, and I had a family to raise.
Yeah.
Um, so I wasn't backed with a ton of money when I
Yeah.
first started. I just got to a point where it was like my back's against the wall. I got to sell these things. Yeah, and that goes back to the club thing. I'm not saying train dogs for free, but be willing to maybe throw in a discount. Learn how to build your prices out so you can offer discounts. Uh,
Yeah.
learn, learn, make your price points in the beginning affordable, something that is as far as, something that you can live off of for a little bit and still pay your bills
Yeah.
until you get better at it.
Mm,
I mean, you've seen it. My prices have I mean, we're talking probably damn near doubled since I started with you.
yeah.
Because I'm very comfortable throwing out the prices that I have.
Yeah.
Very, very comfortable. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've heard other people like in the dog training world and even outside in different industries and stuff like that. And like, I think it's like kind of like a marketing ploy sometimes too, to be like, don't compromise on your prices. It's all about finding like the right clients. Like there's something to that. But
yeah,
man, like the simplest way I can explain this is like if you have somebody and they want to do a 4 week board and train, and all it takes is giving them a discount instead of making 4K, you make 37, and you're
dude.
going to be like, I don't compromise on prices. I'm like,
Yeah,
you are penny wise and pound foolish, and you
yeah,
need to like really evaluate that. And like
yeah.
that could be the goose that laid the golden egg too. You know what I mean? It's like they refer you to four more people. I'm not saying you need to always do that. And if you have a wait list and stuff like that, and you're booked out and you have this like incredible reputation, like yeah, you have the luxury to do that. Raise your
Raise those
prices, right?
prices.
But like, man, if you're just getting started and you're gonna like stand on your morals and be like, I don't compromise, it's like just do what you need to do to get this thing going.
That just goes back to like what I call myself is, the sales sword is it's got to be sharpened.
Yeah.
A win here versus no wins is going to sharpen it. You're going to
Yeah.
gain the confidence. You're going to gain the momentum in
Hmm.
your sales. That's a big thing. I love days that I have 5 consultations or 4 consultations because I ride my momentum through those consultations versus, now I have 2 privates and a consultation. You
Yeah,
know,
the words are like by the third, fourth, fifth consultation, like the words are just like pouring out of your
oh, it's
mouth. And it's
butter.
like,
It's butter at that
yeah,
point.
I know what you mean, man. It's so funny. You're like, I don't even like I've had this like moment out of body experience, like where I'm like, am I actually like thinking about what I'm saying right now? It just kind of seems like things are just kind of, coming out
Just
of my
coming
mouth.
out.
Yeah.
That's now there. I mean, I think there's something to be said about that. Sometimes you don't
Yeah.
want to get too far off on autopilot, but
Saying
it
wild shit that people are like, what is this guy talking
people are
about?
like, what the fuck are you talking about? Oh, wrong dog, my bad.
Yeah.
But there is something to be said about like you win at a consultation, you get them to sign up, you lose $300,
Yeah.
ride that momentum into your next one,
Yeah.
ride it into your next one, and keep chugging away. I mean, that's to me, that's what it's all about
Yeah.
as far as sales go. I don't think, and my, I haven't gone through a school for sales. I've just been selling.
Yeah.
That's all I do. I might read a book here or there. I might
Yeah.
listen to a podcast here or there, but half the times they're just telling you the same shit.
Yeah, exactly. And I recorded an interview with our client success manager, Angel, and she was talking about like having structure to your consultations too. Like that's a big thing. I think the reason that sometimes you can be on autopilot and the words are just coming out of your mouth and you just kind of like are feeling so good like in that moment is because you've just done it so many times and you just
Yep.
know what works. And when I say this to this type of person who's dealing with this type of problem, it makes their eyes light up, and stuff like that. So like it all comes back to repetitions and just doing it. And like sometimes like to your point, Lucas, like momentum is such a powerful thing. And sometimes you need to manufacture momentum because like you can be stuck in, I haven't been on a consultation in a couple of weeks or whatever it is. I'm slow. And then you get one and you like feel rusty going in. So it's like, try and stay sharp. Like, say out loud to yourself, like what you're going to say to the clients, like get some information before you go into that consultation. Like, what points do I want to get across to this person? Like, what is most important for me to learn about them and for me to show them that's going to help them make the best decision. And that decision, of course, is working with us.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, sounds super stupid, but when I first started out, we weren't getting, 1,000 consultations. To keep myself sharp, I would talk to myself in the mirror.
Yeah.
Get used to looking people in the eye, maintaining good body language, and
Yeah.
not. anything that comes out of I want to hear what I have to say.
Yeah.
But I want to get used to just talking to someone. I
Hmm.
want to get used to, and I would have my wife. There's times I would try selling dog training to my wife.
Yeah.
Hardest sell on the planet. Hardest sell on the planet. She,
Yeah.
no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But that it's really I mean it is genuine practice for people that are just starting out.
Yeah, for sure, man. And yeah, and just to touch like back on that like whole like mental toughness thing, like so I think sometimes people could just be like, what is this guy even talking about? But like until you've been there and you've experienced it and like getting told no and no and no, like really reflect on that. Like that's a really painful thing to have to go through. And like it makes you question things. And like, but all I can tell you is that like the model is proven. Like in-person consultations work and they work better than phone sales. They just do. The data
100%.
is so clear. Like you and I have tracked it. Like I remember early on, like us talking about it from like a scientific perspective of like when I talk to people on the phone versus when I do it in person. I've done it with other people as well. Really good closers, people that we work with that I like are like, this person is really good. They close like 70, 80% of the time face to face and like 20, 30 on the phone.
Yep.
And like, man, like I can understand in the moment how it's easier to try and sell the person on the phone, but you got to deal with more no's, and you're going to end up having to pay more in marketing to get more leads because you're going to have more people to talk to because you're going to have to get all those no's out of the way. And
Oh,
yeah, I just think having something where like you put yourself in the best situation possible to get a yes, that's what you should always be doing.
I mean, yeah. Well, I mean, absolutely. I think a lot of times too, dog trainers have a tendency to be lazy.
Yeah,
That goes
good
back to the
nature.
client communication.
Yeah,
I think they kind of correlate a little bit. Is they don't want to get up. They don't want to go to. They don't want to go to someone's house.
yeah,
If it's inconvenience, then they just got them working dog. And I get it, right? You work dogs. If you have running boarding trains out of your house, but example, I when I first started out, it was me, Megan. That's all I had. Two people. I'm taking care of 20 dogs in home. I had to
yeah,
sleep here. I have to, support my family here. I'd get up 7, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. I think I told you a couple times I had consults that would ride all the way until 1 o'clock in the morning.
yeah,
If there were second shift or third shifters,
yeah,
I did what I had to. I did, and I to this day I don't regret it. To this day, I would never say I regret.
yeah,
But the mental toughness is part as far as people saying no. Um, I think it goes back to where I was at when I first signed up with you. A, lost a bunch of money. Two, I got ghosted by my markers. And three, I was coming off people just saying no left and right. I had a way to get sales out, but people were saying no left and right. I was
yeah,
totally demoralized.
yeah,
That first consultation that you scheduled me, I recall it was a blue nosed pit bull puppy. Walked in there, spent an hour and 45 minutes with them in their house talking about, and I did free training. I
yeah.
showed them how to do thresholds, showed them how to put the leash on, why keeping a leash on was important. Hour 45 minutes to hand me a $6,500 check for a 7-week boarding training. I didn't even offer that.
That's
I
a
didn't
great
even offer,
story, man.
but they wanted to train their dog with me so badly after spending so much time with them. I had their kids are running around the house, going
Yeah,
crazy. And I paid no mind. I was super just okay with everything going on, and I bit the bullet. And now no one wants to spend an hour and 45 minutes at a free consultation in home.
yeah.
That's another thing I don't think we touched on is I don't charge people for consultations.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
are
I mean, that
free.
goes without saying. Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing too. It's like the whole, and I can understand like why people want to charge for them. I want to get charged paid for my
Yep.
time. I personally think, I mean, there can be a time and a place, right, to do that, of course. Like if you're a solo person and you're so booked out, like, okay, I can understand you justifying that, but like it goes back to, for me, like making it as easy as possible for people to want to say yes to you. And
Yep.
it doesn't get any easier than I'm going to come to you. I'm going to give you free training advice. It's free. You can be in your own living room. Like that. That's like Alex Hormozy saying, like, give them an offer so good they would feel stupid saying no to it. Like
Yep.
that's what that means. Like if you have a crappy offer of like somebody calling you, finding you off the internet, and it's like, okay, I know that we just met each other, but within the first, 30 seconds of us talking, I'm telling you it's going to be a $300 consultation fee. I'm like, I don't know how many people are going for that.
I don't think anyone's going for that. I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't care what you're selling. $300 consultation fee. I don't.
Or whatever it is. I mean, dude, here's the funny thing. Like I've listened to calls where people say they're going to charge like, oh, it's a $50 consultation fee, right? And then the guy is like, oh, well, let me talk to my wife and get back to you. We don't know. We're just calling around and kind of seeing what's out there. And then the trainer has gone like, you know what? Where do you live? Okay, you live in this town. I'm actually going to be there on Wednesday. You know what? What if I waive the consultation fee and I just drop by and we do a free consultation? Yeah, that would be great. Like let's get you booked in for that. All right, cool. And then they go out and they sell them a $4,000 board and train. And I'm like, man, they would have said no to $50, but yes to 4,000.
Yep,
That's mind blowing, you know? So it's like just that you can't overlook that stuff. That's like if you're slow and you're looking for more work and to grow your business, like make it easy for people to say yes to you.
absolutely.
Yeah. All right, brother. Well, listen, we'll leave it there for tonight, okay? But as
All right.
always, man, I appreciate you. Like this is I know people get a ton of value out of these calls. So anything you want to like wrap up with for tonight?
I think we went over a lot.
Yeah.
You know, I
This is
think,
gonna be a two-part thing. Like I realized
yep.
like halfway through, like we did like, like first half is like it's a clear
Yeah.
line too, because you're like sitting in the dark for the first
Oh
half.
yeah, that first half. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. You should just play that right through. I look like a floating head. You could
Yeah,
have used my
yeah,
chin because my beard.
yeah. But
Um,
that's perfect. It's like a clear break. So we'll do like the first part on Shogun Working Club, and then like after that, it'll just be
okay.
more like a business thing.
All right. No, I'm super excited, man. Let me know. I'm always down to do this.
Yeah. All right, brother. We'll talk soon, okay?
All right, brother.